right, this is our first meeting of 2025 on April 21st with the Ptaboa. Do you guys want to state your names?
Sure, Patty Kindler.
Les Howe.
Matt Capozzo.
Okay, and then since it's our first meeting, do we want to nominate a president?
Certainly, I would nominate Les Howe as president of the Ptaboa.
In that case, I will nominate Patty Kindler as
You can't
president.
do that.
I can.
Looks like you're taking the vote, then, Matt.
And I now move that nominations be closed. You're going to railroad us right into that.
Yeah. I'll have to ask Joe, who's the senior member of the commission.
Ooh, it would be Les. Les has been here longer.
I would second the nomination for Les.
All right, look at that, Les, you're president.
Aye. All in favor?
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, perfect.
Those opposed, same sign.
So
Too bad.
our first meeting is we're reviewing some 136s. These are new filings. So the first one I have up on the screen for you is the Beech Grove Cemetery. Did I already pass you that paper?
Yes.
Yes, it's down here.
So currently on Beacon, it looks like a farm field, so they've always paid taxes on it. I have driven by. They do have, it's grass now. They do have like the driveway to make it into a cemetery. So I did do a field check on that to make sure. And so then they're just asking that it's now exempt. They're no longer farming it.
Okay.
And I think they provided everything. Yeah, I mean, it's a cemetery, so.
So they have a cemetery attached to that?
Yeah, it's right at top. Oh. I gotta go over here.
Oh, there it is.
So they are across the road as well.
Okay.
Oh. How do we fix that?
Yeah, so, sorry, technical difficulties.
Our cemetery
Oh,
is
come
exempt.
on. How did
Do
you
we do it? I don't know.
Sorry,
Sorry if you're watching this at home. We're learning.
yeah, I think normally you could do that.
You just go down here.
No, it's this stupid thing right here. Oh, because it should not. Oh, no, about that screen. There. Now you can show over there, you're over there now,
Okay.
sorry.
But is it recording?
Yeah, it's
this
recording when you
screen?
move, so you have to look over there when you're
Oh,
moving.
that's right.
So keep scrolling, you open this screen, and now you're over there.
Okay, so yes, they own across the road, and this is what they're asking for. And like I said, it's grass now, and they've put a driveway. They're no longer farming it.
Okay, and they're not farming it?
Correct.
Okay. And they have owned this for years?
I believe so.
Okay.
Yes. So if you want to make,
Do we want to call for a motion?
yep.
Or not?
I'm not sure
You
I'd
can't
like
see
to have
our
a president
faces.
already. So those in favor be exempting.
It's they're asking for 100% exemption.
Yeah.
Okay, and it's land only, yeah.
It is land only used for a cemetery. Those in favor say aye.
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 Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries to exempt.
Okay.
So it's good to see.
And I don't know if you can read that screen, but they've been that since 1989, I think is what it says.
Yeah.
File them up
Okay.
here.
When we're doing this for real, we get
Yeah.
copies and
Sure.
documentation of everything. It's
Quite all right.
Under the cemetery section. Okay, let me pass this back.
Okay.
Okay,
This one is the Diocese of Fort Wayne, South Bend. Who should I put that one?
it's a big
Yeah,
one.
you go and do this.
I'm
I
laughing.
know, but
Yeah,
the people at home are just seeing the Beacon website, right?
Yep, that's what we're seeing right now. Yep, you see, you do the searches and
All right, perfect.
here you talk about doing it.
Okay, so what are they looking to exempt?
oh, it's the house?
Yes.
Parsonage or what, not parsonage, I guess, in
No,
Catholic, but.
so
Same difference.
yeah.
the parking lot's here, and here's the main church.
Okay,
I think they originally bought it as they're going to expand, so they're going to they actually own this house too. They're gonna tear
Okay.
these down and expand.
okay. And they rent them right now?
No,
No. Okay,
Angela and I went and field checked it last year, and sadly, they're gonna tear it down.
Just vacant?
Yeah, it's just vacant.
But the house next to it's rented? The
It is,
little
but they
one?
just acquired it.
Okay,
But they didn't file on that other house, so maybe the other house is still rented.
okay, okay, so
So
this is.
they've only filed on this house that is vacant.
Okay, all right.
We did.
And they're going to remove
they're
it,
gonna-
and
they're
it
gonna
says
tear it
that?
down?
Yes,
It says that in there, okay.
they should.
Finish. Significant amount of paperwork.
Yeah,
Yes.
but it has their articles.
Is this all, is everything there corporate?
Yeah.
That's usually standard is they send all that in.
Good for them.
Think you're good here?
I think I'm good. Just hit that
When you're done, yes, just hit the recording app.
and I'll just leave it over.
Cherry
to you.
tipped.
You call me,
Okay.
text me, whatever, I'll come up.
Okay, yep, thank you.
Okay, so as I look at this map, I see 224. Is that really 224?
That's North Jefferson.
Or is that continuation, what I
Yeah.
would call 5?
That's 5, yeah.
Okay.
North Jefferson, yeah. No,
So their 136 refers to use of the ground as a school. I'm assuming that's relative to the rest of their parcel,
yes.
not particularly this parcel, because this will be part of parking to the best of your knowledge.
Yes. I mean, I think future development is maybe they'll expand something to do with the school there.
And it says on here that their demolition time frame is 2024. Obviously, we're into 2025.
Right,
I
it's
don't
still,
know.
it's still there, they have
It-
not
it-
demoed it
yeah.
yet.
Sometimes they get 4 years to turn property into what they say it's going to be, don't they?
3? Is it
That's
3?
more vacant land if they're gonna build something on it.
So as soon as they tear it
So I
down,
mean,
4 years. but
technically,
still-
yeah,
They
I don't know
have to
how you
have a
wanna look
plan
at
at that point,
Yeah, so yes,
Yeah.
when they tear it down, I mean,
If they don't
if
do.
you give them the exemption, we would look at it in 4 years to make sure that they're doing what they
Okay,
say they're doing.
good.
I would make a motion to approve as presented.
Second that motion?
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Those opposed, same sign. And we don't always vote 100% either.
No, that's quite all right.
Well, yeah, I was gonna say, these are all pretty,
Rich Primitive Baptist Church. 200 East. The map helps so much when you're trying to locate these parcels.
Wow.
now. I believe this one is a name change, but let me,
Rock Creek.
because they were exempt before,
Okay,
and usually they don't file unless it's a name change, but. No, I guess I'm not sure where they're filing.
they just
I mean,
being careful maybe?
Yeah.
Yeah.
name on the application is the same as on there.
Yeah.
Right, and I was just scrolling to see if they changed it, but they didn't change their name, so you know,
They just may have been
They may
Careful.
have been one, yeah, that when we sent out letters last year, that they're just filing to make sure that
They're filed,
exempt.
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, this property's been exempt
Okay.
since forever, so since we have the paperwork, we just need to go over it. Refiling this,
So
yeah.
we have a motion to accept this as filed?
Yeah.
Yes, I'd make a motion that we accept the exemption on this Primitive Baptist Church, which was previously exempt as well.
Second the motion.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Okay, here's the gavel now.
Okay, so
After each one.
this one is the Little River Land Trust, and they're filing on 4 parcels. There's copies in there, so you should know this.
We have multiple copies.
Yeah, it looks like it. Oh, that's because they have multiple
Four
parcels.
part,
There's 4
Never mind.
parcels, but they gave you a copy of each of them, so,
Seven.
and
Charitable. Okay. Sure. What's their charity?
the only thing that I see is they did acquire these, but they acquired these in February, so they technically weren't the owner January 1 of 25.
Oh,
So, did they check 25 on the top of the form?
2025 is the assessment date.
Yeah.
January 1st, 2025.
But if they didn't file this, would they have to pay tax on what they just bought?
Well, technically they weren't the owner, so they
Yeah.
can't really claim. I'm sorry, I can't see that. Les, can you read me one of those parcel numbers?
Parcel number, throw one at 'em.
35.
Yeah.
35-050-100-200-100-005. That one there.
These are the parcels north of Kmart.
So it would be, so that parcel that he just read is this one, and then it's this one, and then I believe, no, just kidding. These and these. But like I said, it was not put in their name until 2/25 of 25, so they weren't the owners 1/1 of 25 to get the exemption.
Can you highlight the parcels one more time, please?
So it's this one, this one, this one, and then this corner.
But does not include the hotel.
No.
Okay.
And just for reference, if you can read that right there is when it,
Okay,
so it was in their name, and they actually, there's actually a sale price, so they bought it from the Hoffmans.
yeah,
Um,
February 25th, or whatever
Yep.
that says. So, non-exempt at the point of purchase.
So what that form is asking that they're exempt 1/1 of 25. So really, they should file for 1/1 of 26.
Can't be,
Yeah, they can.
yeah.
But they filed it, so you have to.
Yeah,
make
I
it.
mean, I don't blame them, but yeah, it'll have to be
Right.
for next year.
Now let me ask a procedural question in this particular case. Is this something that we would table subject to amendment? Or how would you typically handle that? Would you just, since there's an issue of applicability, since they didn't own it
Yeah.
at the date that they're requesting,
So normally we would deny it, and I would send them a form with that information. Technically, they could appeal the denial, but we would also put that they could file next year as well, so.
I guess I don't know, I guess
I was gonna say, we haven't had these in a long time that,
it's hard to give them something they don't own.
Right,
right,
I mean, I'm not trying to be bad, and it's just, you don't own it.
right.
right.
And
They-
I would have thought at the time of settlement, if there
It
was
would've-
taxes too, that would have all been taken
Taken
care
care
of
of.
then. So their only concern would be the coming year, which they could file for.
I would make a motion to deny based on the date of acquisition.
I would second that motion.
Adopt. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign.
I think those are roughly in order.
Yeah, I think, well, hopefully Patty and I didn't move too far out of whack.
Okay. This is Habitat for Humanity, and they are filing on 4 parcels. So the first parcel, we can go through these parcel by parcel.
Are these all new acquisitions or,
That's what I was gonna tell you, as
Okay.
we go through them.
Okay.
First. So the first one that I pulled up is 633 East High Street. And they have owned this since 3/21 of 23.
okay,
And I know they built, let me check the property. Where's the property? Okay, so this one is still currently a vacant lot, but I believe if you read the form, they plan,
to construct on it?
yes. So that is, what did I say, 633 High Street, yeah.
That was 633.
Yes, yes, this is the
Okay.
current one.
Okay.
53, so they must all be vacant. Okay, where are they?
So are these all vacant lots?
I'm gonna tell you just a second.
I guess that one's got information.
Okay, so 736 East Washington Street is a vacant lot.
Okay,
And they purchased that one 11/22 of 24.
okay,
That's the vacant, the 2 vacant ones.
Okay, and then. Nine 39 Iowa Street
This one
is
here.
a vacant lot still.
okay.
And they,
939 is vacant?
Where do you see 939 on these?
So this was a split, so they
Okay.
split off part of the lot. So 939 Iowa Street is still vacant, and they've been the owner since June 3rd of 24.
Okay,
That's what I was looking to see if they
These
have
one,
building.
these 136s
Oh, building
show a
permit.
single-family residence worth 190,000.
Well, that's what I wonder if this is where the,
That's what you mean, because same valuations, these must be a split of, might be across, yeah, there must be a split in there.
so
What part?
They could be
949,
next to each other, right?
Must be.
949 Iowa Street also
oh,
is a vacant lot.
okay,
And they have owned that since 6/3 of 24.
same date, okay.
Yeah, so they're filing only on vacant lots.
Do you mind pulling up the Iowa Street properties, just so we could visualize the split?
Why would you put a residence on there unless it's been tore down? And why would you tear down a $190,000 residence?
Okay.
So yes, it was,
It's 939.
sorry.
So I would guess the one up is gonna be 949.
Uh-huh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, maybe there's not been a, where
It's
did you see
just
there
a
was a
split.
res-
Yeah, if somebody has a residence on it,
Yeah, it says improvements on,
Do they either own the house to the north or south?
No. No,
this is
so it's these two lots
949,
that,
this was
Okay.
939,
939.
and they both show residence on it.
So they have a
It's the
$190,000
same price on both of them, yeah.
basis for improvement valuation on there, so that is a holdover from something, I guess.
The original parcel is the assessed value. What do we
yeah, I
have,
wonder what they
190?
thought was, because when I looked at their property record cards, none of them had improvements on it.
Maybe they just didn't know how to fill it out properly.
So the 633 East High Street for their, land lot, it's 3,500. 736 East Washington Street, it's 3,000 for the land value. 939 Iowa, it would be 3,400, and then the 949 Iowa, it's 3,400. So like, there's never, oh wait,
Did they split that off of that 931, possibly?
yes.
Do we have an assessed value on that to see if it kind of matches this one on a sheet, or?
Which one did you want to see the assessed value on?
Is it 931 at the bottom, they split
931.
off? Yeah, we were,
So this was one lot and they split it in half.
oh,
And I wonder if it came with 931, because that looks like a Habitat house. So
Oh.
maybe they've already sold it to Mr. Hoover.
and that's where they got that
to
value?
Jennings. I wonder if that's where it's all pulled off of. Well, it's 134.9.
He's got
value.
134.9, yeah. Unless they added 3 parcels together to get that value, added those vacants on, well, no, it wouldn't still add
Yeah,
up to
still didn't-
190.
Yeah, it still didn't add up.
Uh-uh,
I don't know where that number comes from.
yeah,
Copy and paste error?
that's probably where the number
So
comes.
who owns 931?
James Jennings.
Yeah, and when you click on that, we can see if he's recently had it transferred to him from Habitat.
If I can.
Or if there's been any splits.
Yeah, if there's
Yeah.
been any splits or
Yeah.
whatever.
No?
No,
When were they
No.
on it? In
Habitat
08?
owned it way back, yeah. No, like I said, the split was those two lots, it was all, I think, one, and they split it in half. Cause I mean, their
Okay.
intent is to build homes on each of these.
Okay, they just kind of messed up when they put this value down on this
So,
136 then,
yeah.
So
because here it
if
says.
they were planning on putting $190,000 house on there, would they be asking for exemption for that now? So that when
Maybe
it goes
that's
on
what
there,
they're thinking.
I mean, you're right, we're now supposing how they filled out the form.
Right.
Where that value came from.
Yeah.
And yet they say the assessed value is only 6,700 here of the land. That's probably before split, maybe.
Yes.
But then they have this improvement value. That must be the proposed improvement. That would make sense.
Yeah, because they do have improvements in their section 1.5, new construction, single family, 4-bedroom, 2-bath home, attached single car garage.
Which is physically not there at the moment.
Right, it's not there at the
Yeah.
moment, so
Okay.
they would,
I believe they would file again after they build the home. So like you're approving that their current, because it dates to the 1/1 of 25 value. So for 1/1 of 25, they're all still vacant lots. So you're approving if they get 100% on their land.
and that's what you would correct, for lack of a better term, when you apply the exemption, would be to what they were as one, regardless of what they put on here.
Right, you guys would
Because the
approve
house-
that we're allowing 100% on the land for 1/1 of 25.
Right, because the house is not on the.
Right,
land at the moment.
correct.
Yeah.
We can't
Okay.
approve something that's not
I
there.
think that's what we're looking at, is their
Yes.
projection, which would be for
think
1/1
you're
of
right.
26.
Yeah. I think we could exempt the land without too much trouble, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Once they sell the house,
And that would be one
Not
that
looking
we
at-
would technically check in 4 years, but Habitat normally is pretty good about
yeah.
pulling permits and getting it
Refiling,
done.
so. I would make a motion to approve the exemption for the vacant parcels. All four.
I would second that motion.
All in favor of that motion, say aye.
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 Those opposed, same sign. Fabulous.
Next up is the Bippus Community Volunteer Fire Department. They own this property in Clear Creek Township. Last year, their exemption was removed on this property, and so this year they are filing again. I believe he wrote on there that it's now for training and that it is vacant. Just catch up, Matt, last year it was denied because they had a volunteer living in the house, per se, not paying rent, but taking care of the buildings in exchange for that, so we removed it last year, but now said person has moved out. And it is vacant, I drove by it, it is vacant.
And there's just a storage building, or is that still there?
The
Says-
storage building's there and the house is still there, but I believe
Okay.
when he came in, they're using it for training, but eventually the house will be torn
They're
down.
gonna burn
after
it
the
down,
training
maybe?
goes through.
Okay, you guys,
Okay.
I
I've
remember
seen
this
this
from last year.
seen this one?
Yeah, yeah, we've seen it.
And again, I'll apologize in advance for asking procedural questions for your office, Jill, but when you check for vacancy, do you verify with utilities that there's, for example, no power on at the property, or is it just a visual inspection? of the
It's just
property?
a visual inspection, so, but I mean, we could if you wanted more.
If there was a
than that.
question, I'm
Yeah,
sure it's
if there was a
obvious here,
question,
so,
yeah.
yeah. And I do think this property's been vacant for a bit of time, so. I would, motion to approve.
Second that motion?
Okay. Those in favor of said motion, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign.
Okay, so the next one is Parkview Health Foundations, and this is just on their personal property. If you read the little note on page 3, it's essentially they just changed their name and their federal ID number. So in our office, we would give them a new parcel number because it is a new federal ID number. So they're just covering their bases.
Okay. And they've previously been exempt?
Yes.
As personal property?
Yes,
Okay.
because it is associated with the hospital
Okay.
specifically.
So no change in amount or degree of exemption? just purely a name change?
Correct.
Thank you. Make motion to approve?
Second that motion.
Those in favor of said motion, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign.
Okay, so this is a new one. It's Community Action of Northeast Indiana. It is also a personal property one. They are located on Norwood Road, which would be at the church there, and it appears that it's a schooling preschool program, if you read the second page. And so they would be a first-time filer for personal property, and they're asking that it be exempt.
Do we have a value? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to take that from you.
No, that's fine, I just, yeah, no, go ahead.
I don't believe she gave a value, and I
So-
don't know that they filed, because they
That they
have till
know.
May 15th to file.
Yeah,
The
so it
property,
says personal
yeah.
property
Yeah.
assessment is 13,238.
Oh,
Oh,
So.
She's already got it.
I mean, I suppose we can, can't they just exempt that off of the top line of the 103 and 104?
it's kind of a different basis, but essentially, yes. Because honestly, if you're under 80,000, you're exempt already. But the legislators just changed now that it's $1 million, and then next year it'll go to 2 million,
Of assessed personal property?
your total acquisition cost.
Oh, so we'll be
We
out
can
of-
talk
we'll
about.
be- we'll be out of work here shortly.
Yeah, we can
Excellent.
talk about that later. So, I mean, yes, it is essentially a moot point because they're under the 80, but they're doing the right thing, going through the right steps, saying I'm a 501c exempt my personal property.
okay.
Okay.
And their location is exempt, right, because they're in the
Yes.
church building.
I'd make a motion that the personal property should be exempt.
I'll second the motion.
Yay. Those in favor of said motion, say aye.
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 Opposed, same sign.
This is Riverfront Plaza, so this is down, they file every year. This is down, by the old Marshall building, the complex down there. The B&B's in there, so they ask for 30% of the building and 30% of the paving parking lot.
Because it's state-owned
Because
property.
the B&B owns it.
Okay.
And we verified that, I mean, the 30% adds up, so.
Okay.
And you said this is an annual renewal?
Yeah.
Yeah. They're granted because.
Yeah, I guess I'm not
they're state
sure
facility,
on
so they have
the
the exemption.
state statute, but it's filed by an attorney, so I'm assuming he thinks they need to file it every year. I would think it would be on even years, but I think just covering bases to make
yeah.
sure that.
I don't blame them.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
with
it
the
doesn't
laws
hurt to- yeah.
changing,
If it could get really expensive fast just because you didn't
Could.
fill out a form.
it
Right.
could, yeah.
I would make a motion to approve as presented.
I would second that motion.
Those in favor of said motion, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign.
Aye. They say aye too late?
Yeah, twice you said aye.
Oh, well, I guess I
You
approved
voted
it.
for and
There's
against,
two
huh?
parcels, so.
President needs to make a tiebreaker vote.
There you go.
I'm just showing these because they were filed in my office. They're airport hangars. They sit out on the city lots. They reference a code. Not all the airport hangars. I'm assuming these are new owners, but they're
Okay.
also not required to record anything saying they're new owners, so it's kind of one of those.
Otherwise, they're not filing generally on those hangars?
No.
Okay.
The Indiana code for airport hangars and the things that are allowed are pretty broad.
It certainly is. It is.
And I've read the Indiana cases about what's allowed,
Mhm.
so
Right. There's some out there, yeah.
But these are actually hangars on the airport, not
yes.
up in the subdivision?
But some of them are still individually owned. Majority of them are owned by the city, but some of them are still individually owned. And so occasionally they will come in and file if they remember.
Okay.
So of the hangars that are at the airport, how many of them have been currently granted an exemption?
They're all 100%.
All of them,
exempt,
so these are, so it's just hit and miss on who comes back in for, that's, okay.
yeah. And you could interpret the Indiana law either way on that, whether they need to file on even years or if they're already exempt because it's on city-owned property and it's
Oh,
city
right.
and all that, so.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, yeah, motion to approve.
Second that motion?
Those in favor of approving the exemption, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign.
Okay, so that was all technically the new ones. These people are refiling. Last year, we sent out letters asking people to update their, so we actually had a paper copy, because some of these people have been exempt for many, many years, and it was kind of like an audit. The state changed the laws where we could, the Ptaboa could more review them, and so we just wanted hard copies. So some of these came in this year, they came in after the deadline. They didn't necessarily do anything wrong because they're exempt, and we had asked them to refile. So the first one is Mount Etna Masonic Lodge. They're asking for their land improvements, and they also list their personal property value, or personal property number. Sorry. So these are ones that have been exempt for many years. Our office just sent out letters asking them to refile.
Okay. And there's a separate personal property, or, because I don't see it on here.
Well, they list the number, under the parcel numbers where they list the parcel number.
Personal properties here.
There you go.
So all these that we're looking at are just administrative requests to refile, there's no,
Yeah, nothing's changed or,
no
Yeah.
use change or concerns from your office or
no,
anything?
no
It's
concerns.
just-
We
Yeah.
could do them all one at a time, right?
That was sort of my question. That was my next question.
Well, I mean, and we can do that. That's totally fine with me. Again, these are all administrative, like, we have three well, okay, I don't know if are they all Masonic?
Do it.
Roanoke, Amity,
Yeah.
and,
We
Mount
have
Etna
them,
are all-
and then we have the Evangelical United Methodist Church out on Flax Mill. Again, nothing's changed. The Charity Baptist and Faith Chapel Church of Goebbelsville. Again, they all checked that they're refiling on the same property. Again, it was just administrative, so we had. So yeah, if you wanted to blanket that, those that I have listed.
Okay. The only question I have is this one says late, and,
That's because that we wanted them last year.
Okay, so
I
just
will take
ignore
that
that.
off. Yeah,
Okay.
no, it's not late.
Okay, good, okay.
So do I need to abstain from this, dear?
Yeah, you probably should.
Okay. You're on your own. I can tell you that for ours in particular, our governing body has, just so when we are reviewed every year, we must now provide a document that we have filed this.
That's probably smart.
Good.
So I come from problems in other areas in the state where it was determined that maybe they'd never filed.
Well, and that's the thing,
Yes.
And
like,
so-
we look at records and we're like,
Grandfathered
yeah, it's,
for 30 years, yeah.
so yeah, I think a lot of people were upset that we asked, but it's like, hey, we want, those are the airport, you can just put them on there. So if you wanna make a motion and,
I would make a motion to approve the all 7.
Second that motion
all in favor?
to approve, yes,
Aye.
aye.
Okay, so that moves on to old business. We talked about the Union Hall in Roanoke last year.
This is General Motors.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I have a court case if you wanna pass that on to.
Oh, you do?
So
Okay.
what happened was last year the board decided to deny them because just because you're a labor union, that doesn't mean that you're exempt. And that's what they're checking on the form, is that they're a labor union. We did this in October. I asked our state rep, I said, is it too late to send them a notice? And he's like, well, you probably should have did it in August. There's no statutory date, but, so I let him ride for one more year just cause I thought
Okay.
that's for them to prepare for a tax bill. I didn't.
And you had a tax court case on that you?
Yes, there's a
Okay.
tax court case attached to that we reviewed. There
Okay,
actually may
I
be.
think I read it.
I skipped
I
it. I
think
skipped
there
it
actually
somewhere.
may be three.
That's what you should do.
There actually may be three
Oh.
tax court cases that
Okay.
we looked up.
Okay. To determine that it is
Just
not
because you're a
exempt.
labor union doesn't mean you're
We'll get you
charitable or.
We
Yeah.
actually have the cases.
You would have
You
to
can read
show
the entire
that
case
you're
if you want. Sometimes it's pretty entertaining.
doing training
Yeah,
or things like that.
I was moving to the back, yeah, see if I can understand the final determination.
So, again, on some of this stuff, it returns to predominant use, correct?
Right,
Yes.
Okay.
they would have to show that, yeah.
And then this way, that gives them opportunity to, if we deny it, it gives them opportunity to file an appeal with the state and kind of move all along.
And get prepared and be able to
Yes.
give them a fair chance. Okay?
Again, this seems like an obvious question, but I'm assuming this case law is provided by you, not the applicant.
Yes, correct. Yes.
Again, seems like an obvious question.
Yeah, yeah,
Sometimes it comes from the applicant too.
and we've seen that.
Yeah, I didn't know if they were arguing that there was something here that wasn't applicable to them.
No, because they had just checked that, I believe they put 501c and they maybe give me the number. And when you look it up as a exempt entity, it just means they're a labor union. But with Indiana codes for real estate and things like that, a labor union isn't necessarily a specific one.
But by default,
By
it's not
default,
an
it's not
exempt
a-
organization.
yes. So then you would have to prove that you're one of the others, as in charitable, education, religious.
And do we have any, in the county, any other specifically defined union halls? And I can only think of one, I think they sold it down on Franklin Street. It used to be but I think they sold it. It was right across from the factory there. Do you remember the little building I'm talking about, Patty?
Yeah,
I think it's been sold.
What do you think it was?
It would be Franklin Street. If you pull up the map on Franklin Street, east of Bryant, it'd be on the north side.
Yep.
helping them out, it'll be close to that.
Would be close to that,
Okay, C, and I'll go back in there about, went the wrong way. Is it 1202? It might be gone.
1202 is
Yeah.
Allen County Builders.
yeah. Mm-hmm. Is that Baker? It could be gone.
I think it's set right in there between 1202 and 1234. Do you remember?
That's
It was
what I
a
was thinking.
little shotgun union hall, but it looks like it's been torn down, so.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Well,
okay, well, anyway, moot point. So,
Didn't there used to be one on Riverside Drive by the meat market? The Steelworkers Union or something?
oh, yeah, in the old,
And that dissolved.
yep, that went away too.
That may have been a true training facility. I don't know.
I think maybe they tell you a little bit that they do there, but like I said, they didn't check that they're filing for educational and charitable. They literally checked other and listed the 501c for
Okay.
labor unions.
is it possible that people sometimes get confused with being exempt from income tax from the
And
federal or
that could
state
be,
level
you are
versus
correct.
being exempt from property tax? Have different sets of rules?
Right.
Okay. Well, I would entertain a motion to decline until they can show us better prominent use.
Mm-hmm.
That's fine. I mean, I'll send them a denial and we can see if they file with the state or come back
I
with.
agree.
It probably just means we get to see them later in the year, perhaps.
Mhm.
Did you move that, Patty?
Yeah.
Did you I'll second the motion.
Those in favor of denial, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign.
Okay, one more, I think.
Okay.
This is a hard one because we asked them
Absolutely,
to,
yeah.
we asked them to file last year and they did. They complied with paperwork. They may have been one that we blanketed last year because they've always been exempt, but they now rent out their whole facility.
Oh.
To a company that I don't believe is not-for-profit.
Oh. Oh, really?
So there's,
Okay.
so they rent out, so they, and I don't, and so when I re-looked at the form, I don't believe they even said that they rented out part of the facility previously.
Okay.
Supposed to get any kind of profit loss to go with any of that.
Do they reserve any space or time in that building for their uses?
And that's where I'm saying that I don't think the 136 was completed. But I know that the facility is now rented out because, so what it is, it's the POW Club, and what it is previously the, as soon as it maps.
Oh, it's a single parcel, the entire site?
Yeah. So previously, this back area was rented to, I believe it's called United Gymnastics.
Mhm.
And now they now also rent the front of the facility out permanently.
That's my understanding as well.
So, I mean, the grounds and the rest are used for, you know, the youth athletics and everything, so I don't think it's the grounds that need to be focused on, but these buildings store their, stuff for
Their sports.
sports and everything. So
Uh-huh.
I'm not, there's no concern in here. It's
Yeah.
the concern with this building right here that's now being 100% rented out by as far as we know, a for-profit entity.
And that's not you're not talking about there, the, gymnastics? Or you are?
They are, so they used to be just in this part of the building.
Okay.
Now they rent the whole entire.
The whole gymnastics
The
thing?
whole, yeah.
Oh,
So like the
Okay.
back is still gymnastics and the front is more
Mhm.
like a athletic training.
okay.
So from an assessment position, you considered that one building in the past that was roughly 50%, 40% or 60% maybe leased, and then the rest available for the not-for-profit use?
Previously, again, this is one that's been exempt for many years, and so it's always been 100% exempt. And like I said, last
Okay.
year, it was just blanketed because we didn't really focus on.
Gotcha. So the.
Because like I said, I don't think they actually put in the form that they rent it out.
And obviously, the other smaller structures are still available to the not-for-profit use?
Yes.
And in a circumstance like this, just hypothetically, how would you deal with the ground if the exemption would be denied on a portion of,
Um,
I don't know,
how did we handle that? I think we just did the buildings last year, because we had a few that we did, because they were renting out the building. But, I mean,
I mean,
we
obviously
could
it's
do
a
the
small
footprint under
percentage,
the
but
building, yeah, I mean, we
Yeah.
could do the footprint under the building, or,
Seems like the right
and
thing
again,
to
like,
do.
I don't believe we have all the correct paperwork from them, because, like, we don't know if their lease agreement
yeah.
includes the land.
We also don't necessarily know that the gymnastics is not a not-for-profit.
Right. That's what I was wondering.
I
Is that
tried
right?
to search them and I do not believe they are.
I would
Okay.
concur with you probably that,
What?
that they said they are probably not a not-for-profit.
Right,
I would agree, but
right.
And I think the third question regarding the lease would be if the POW reserves any use right to the building throughout the lease, where they could have potentially use of it for their not-for-profit uses in between them. Again, I don't know the specific scenario, but
And I'm fine if you guys would like to table this and I shoot them some questions that they could answer, if they could give us a copy of the lease and we could verify 100% that whether it's a for-profit or a non-for-profit running the whole thing, and
I think we're all sitting here with several questions that we would like to try to figure out.
so, I mean, to me, that's probably the best option, is to
Mhm.
table
To
it. and
table.
Shoot them some questions and give them, I don't know, 30 days maybe to,
Okay, yeah.
Does that have to come in the form of a motion at the
Yeah.
table?
yeah, I'd make a motion to table.
I'd second that motion.
Those in favor of tabling this until we receive additional information, say aye.
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 Those opposed, same sign.
And refer to Jill for more information.
Well, some of that we can
that's all
probably
I
look up.
have. If you would like to adjourn the meeting so I can.
I would make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second that.
Everyone will approve that, of course. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And those opposed,